Hello, Own the Room people. My name is Neil Olson. I'm a executive coach and a leadership development consultant with started Ecstasis Consulting in about 2006. This is the video in order for you to see me talking about something I'm passionate about, which is about communication strategies for leaders and for leadership inside organizations. It kind of starts with my attending a seminar given by Otto Schermer and studying under him for about a year. He is a professor at MIT, and he wrote this amazingly thick book called Theory U, and it is a social communication process that he came up with. I think he worked with Peter Senge and several other people, but he wrote this book himself. It's about 700 pages long, and about 250 pages of it are footnotes. The first 500 pages are incredibly hard to follow and incredibly hard to read. And we at Ecstasis got to the point where we kind of ran out of patience trying to use this in normal business settings with normal human beings, not MIT professors. And so we went to Otto and we asked him if we could condense it for our purposes into what we call an AIM model: attend, imagine, and move. He was kind of okay with that, a little bit lukewarm. He moved on, we went on with Ecstasis, and what we developed was the AIM model. And what we mean by the AIM model is that most leaders go out into the environment that they're in businesses or wherever, and they tend to make ready, they fire, and then they aim, right? And so one of the things that we want to do is have them slow down enough to actually attend, imagine, and move. So we call that a U that they go through. So there's a current state, and then there's the state you want to get to. In order to follow that process, you attend first. The attending is just simply studying what is without judgment. The hard part is without judgment. That means you got to set aside rumors, you got to set aside reactions, you got to spot them as reactions or things that are not supported by data. But you basically study something, study the situation until what we call is almost painful. My favorite story of this is Charles Darwin, who actually studied beetles for 7 years. I could go probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and before going crazy studying beetles. But he did it for 7 years before he took a big trip to Galapagos and discovered the theory of evolution. So it became quite obvious to him, because he had attended so far down into the bottom of the loop, that he could imagine something that nobody else had imagined before. So down in the imagine part is where creativity happens. It's where all great new ideas, it's where invention happens, it's where the new theories or new ways of looking at things, innovation happens there. And as you begin to discuss those innovative ideas or those creative ideas, you come up this side of the loop. And as you're coming up, you start to realize that while you were in the attend, you discovered resources that you do or don't have, or resources that you need, that affect the possible directions that you want to take your team or your company. And that it is up to the leader in there to actually pick the 1 or 2 top directions that they're going to go and instruct their team on that. And if they have done enough attending and enough imagining, they will move swiftly. The ability to move will be almost frictionless. And if it doesn't work, what happens is they are able to then iterate very quickly. They can go back and begin the process over again. These AIM practices that I talk about can take place over the course of a year. It can take place over the course of a 15-minute conversation. It just depends on the nature of the problem and how confident you are in the process itself. Kind of charmingly, Otto actually shrunk it all down into an executive summary, which I think is incomprehensible. So I'm happy to send it one if you want to see it. And then the final thing I'd like to kind of bring up for you that I found interesting and actually supports a lot of what we do too is there is a PhD named Jet Cyrus in the East Bay, Oakland, California. And she has the Conscious Living Institute. She works with couples an awful lot, and she describes what is essentially the same process. She calls it undefended love, where you attend into a situation, what's truly going on in the relationship. There's then what she calls a lateral drop into a place where there's a possibility for a new relationship. So that's the bottom of the V. And then there's a coming up the other side very swiftly, so someone in relationship feels refreshed in the relationship and they go forward. Both books track almost identically, very closely aligned. Jet does it as a woman. Hers is what she calls a V. Otto's is a U. I don't really care what letter we use, except that we tend to use it as a U at Ecstasis because we can draw it as a pipeline, and it makes more sense that way. So I hope this gives you some idea where my passion lies and why I love public speaking. I could go on and on about this. In fact, I've probably gone on too long. I hope that I get to get the opportunity to work with Own the Room, to become a coach, and to bring my passion for public speaking and for leadership to your organization. So with that, I'm going to awkwardly yet quite confidently reach over and turn off the video. Cheers and take care.